"Your kids can eat when they get home," my mom said, tossing them napkins while my sister's daughters unwrapped $65 pasta and dessert boxes. Her husband laughed. "Should have fed them first." I just whispered, "Copy that." When the waiter returned, I stood up and said, "The waiter hadn't even finished pouring water when it happened." My daughters, Melissa, 10, and Riley, 8, still in their grass-stained soccer uniforms from practice, looked down at those cheap paper napkins, then up at me with confused, wounded eyes. Across the table, my sister Gwen's girls unwrapped their pre-ordered gold foil boxes from some boutique Italian place downtown. Perfectly portioned pasta, slices of tiramisu stacked like edible towers. This wasn't new. Gwen, 38, has been the golden child since birth. She married well, lives in a 4-bedroom suburban house with a dog that gets Christmas presents from my parents while my daughters still wait for birthday cards. Hope left the building years ago. But this dinner crossed a line I didn't know existed. Halfway through the meal, my mom leaned toward Gwen. "Should we tell them?" she asked with a sly smile. My stomach flipped. My wife Paige's hand tightened around her fork. "We're taking the girls to Disneyland this fall," Gwen beamed. "Surprise trip, just the 4 of us." Paige straightened in her seat. "You're taking your girls?" Gwen shrugged like it was nothing. "Yeah, Mom and I planned it last week. Flights are already booked." I stared at my mom. "You planned a family vacation and didn't even tell us?" "It's not a family vacation," she laughed. "It's a treat for the girls." "Our girls are your granddaughters too," Paige said, voice suddenly ice. "I'm sure they'll get to go someday." My mom waved her hand dismissively. "It's not a big deal." Melissa looked down at her lap, her small hands folding and refolding her napkin. Riley blinked rapidly, trying not to cry. I stood up without a word, walked outside into the cold night air, hands shaking. My chest felt hollow. That's when I realized I'd been waiting my whole life for this family to change. They never would, and my daughters were learning the same painful lesson I'd learned as a kid. So I stopped waiting. 3 weeks later, I got a call from my father's old lawyer named Gerald. Turns out, Dad had set up a $60,000 trust for all his grandchildren before he died 10 years ago. My mom was the trustee, the one person who should have protected his wishes. "Your sister signed her paperwork 3 years ago," he said. "Her daughters have already received early disbursements, roughly $10,000 each for educational enrichment. My daughters? Zero." I hung up, sat in silence for a long moment. Then I called a financial advisor named Denise who came highly recommended from a colleague. We found everything. False dental bills under my daughter Riley's initials for procedures that never happened. Travel reimbursements deposited into my mother's personal account at Kensington Credit Union. Over $28,000 funneled to Gwen's kids. Nothing for mine. Then we found my father's letter, sealed, marked, "Open only if the kids fight." He'd written, "If you cannot treat Connor's children the way you treat Gwen's, step aside. Do not dishonor their names. Do not dishonor mine." I filed a petition to remove her as trustee. Breach of fiduciary duty, unequal distribution, financial mismanagement. The court hearing was quiet, clinical. I presented the disbursement logs, the false bills, the letter. My father's trust consultant, Paul Martinez, testified that Dad's explicit intent was equal treatment. The judge didn't hesitate. "I am granting the petition. Elaine Walker is removed as trustee, effective immediately. The court will appoint a neutral fiduciary and order a forensic audit of all transactions." My mother's face went pale. Gwen texted me later. "Did you really have Mom removed from the trust? This is going to ruin her. You are disgusting." I didn't respond. The audit came back worse than I thought. Gwen had to repay nearly $11,000. My mom faced a civil complaint for restitution. We used the funds the way Dad would have wanted. Set up Roth IRAs for Melissa and Riley. Took a week-long trip to a remote cabin in the Smoky Mountains. No Disneyland. Just us. Months passed. No forced reunions. No apologies. Just silence we learned to appreciate. My daughters stopped asking about Grandma. Started laughing again. Loud, free, unapologetic. The best revenge wasn't the court win or the money. It was watching them grow up knowing they were loved unconditionally. That no one could decide they were less important and get away with it.